Okay, welcome to our weekly Likutei Moharan share. Hashem sitting by herself in the Beis Midrash. There is two neshamas over there, busy with the Chabadnik, Heilige Chabadnik, unless they want to join. You want to join? A little bit of Rebbe Nachman?
Yeah.
10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, good. What a schus. You came on time, you see, because otherwise we wouldn't be learning. So, Baruch Hashem, today was a miracle, happened to our friend's holy wife. On the way, the shrapnel came down from the Sirens and the missiles on the 60, Ittamar's wife. She was driving along, and the car, the cars pulled over for the siren, and then when she got back in the car after being on the ground, there were some Arabs not being so nice, and she started driving off, and then shrapnel came down, or however you call it, the exploded part of the missiles, and it went in front of her car and jumped over her car, literally like a miracle. Like banged on the road and banged over the car as they drove forward.
Who's
missed the car? Itamar.
Who's my Rosen?
Yeah. So Hashem's doing miracles for us right now, Mamish, protecting us. I was on my Pesach watching it. It was Mamish, very close. And usually I don't feel anything. I just got used to it, unfortunately, or I don't feel any fear or anything. But for a moment I felt a little bit of a, not so much the missiles, more like the
pieces, because you saw it explode.
I saw it explode.
I was
both
in
of
a group
them.
in Beit Shemesh.
Yeah.
I saw it also explode.
Yeah.
Normally, my thing
Was it like two of them or something, no?
Yeah, that's right. And I momish watched
saw them both.
So I watched it go up, and I was standing. I usually like to be outside, so this is great. And then once I saw it hit, I said, those pieces are going to come down.
They're pretty close. So it was on the 60.
So, wow, that's where it landed.
Yeah, so that's not far from it. So,
interesting. Hold on, was it on the 60 right before the tunnel? I
think so,
I saw they had a big piece of something.
Makes sense.
That was in the middle of the road, and they had it blocked off.
So, Minish Shemayim, we're learning in Likutei Moharan. Rebbe Nachman is giving us a big eitzah, that there's different level of tzedakahs. There's a tzedakah of Hertzlia and a tzedakah of Eretz Yisrael. So we're in Torah Lamed Zayin, and we did Sif Daled. Last week was all about how Hashem does miracles for us, but it's a lot to do with how our musagim, of how we start to get to a level of Yigalan Avos Ba'olam, that He starts bringing the light of Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov into this world. You can see it on the previous thing. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov come to the world, and Yagen Aleinu, the schus of the Avos is revealed through us becoming more connected to pure level of learning of Torah. And how do we get to the pure level of learning Torah? One is to doing tzedakah in Eretz Yisrael, but also the Hevlo PM should Tanokas based Rabban, the young children who learn. So we've all had the schus, hopefully, to have children at some point who learn Torah, and if we didn't, we help support those children, Baruch Hashem, through giving tzedakah to yeshivas or Talmidei Torah. So that pure level of learning going on in Eretz Yisrael, pure is the highest pure level of Torah, and it brings down a tremendous light of the avos, and he says lahagen, to protect us. So by ayidei tzedakah Yisrael, konin ba'avir, you get into the air of Eretz Yisrael. We all know that air of the Eretz Yisrael makes us more wise. Avir kodesh hu b'chinas hevel shein bo chet. So we're connected to the level, and this is the kind of tzaddik we want to connect to. Maybe that's why you prefer to learn with a tzaddik, sit and learn with a tzaddik every day instead of this tempo over here. But nevertheless, someone who does a tainus, he's called a chassid. I have to give you a little personal thing. I went to the mikveh just before learning because I just felt I needed a bit more purity if I'm going to learn today. Ki a tainus, this is just finishing off Sifdale, Gemara chasadim nafsho. It does good for the guf. Kindness for the guf. Hainu leTorah, kamashikos Torah Hashem tamima meshivas nafesh. Torah Hashem is perfect and it restores the soul. And that's what we have to realize when we're learning Torah Hashem. Meshivas nafesh, just the Torah itself. And this is something Tzaddikim told me very strong. And I saw it from Rebbe Nachman in Meshivas Teifa, Meshivas nafesh. He says the fact once you've learned Torah, it's inside of you. And this is what they said. Tzaddikim said to me about Matisyahu. Yeah, we should have him in mind. Matisyahu ben Rochamalka, or any of the Yidden who've, I have very close people that having challenges in Yiddishkeit. Have them in mind, because the Torah itself that they've learned over the years, it will mashivas nafesh, because it's inside them. And the Torah is nitzchis. The Torah says Hashem. It's a chelik of Hashem. So this godly wisdom that they've planted inside their nefesh will mashivas nafesh, will restore their soul. Yeah,
Where does fasting come into this?
So fasting is the level of nefesh, being misgaba on the guf, or transforming the guf into more of a nefesh, into a soul. So this is the whole Torah is back and forth between the behema and the odom, between like the joking around and chokhmah. Like it's going back and forth between two different contrasts, between forgetting and remembering. We're going to see that's coming up again in this next part. It's going to be about zichron, remembering. So gal kein nikra ish chasid ki mevatel adin v'hoshech mamshech chasodim ba'olam. So that's when we know that we get to it causes upon to be called an ish chasid, a person who's a real chasid, not the payers just externally, the real chasid. Mevatel adin, he gets rid of the judgment and the darkness, and he brings down kindness in the world. And that's what happened today. Hashem made a miracle for Am Yisrael. Once again, there's these horrible real tembelim, these chutim, these machshamams, the three H's, and they've all tried, and Hashem protecting us again and again and again, and revealing kindness in the world. Zer Perish says in Sifhei, and this is explanation, 3 warnings. Shazai Rebbe Yehuda ben Beseira in the Sivin. He gave us 3 warnings. This is Rebbe Yehuda ben Beseira. Hazira bezakein sheshachach talmidei machmas ansor. One is you have an older person and he forgets his learning. Why? He's onus. Why is he onus? What does onus mean? He means it wasn't on purpose, but it's not even by accident. He was pressured by his life, certain Yisurim. And I'll give you a story, a very quick story I heard from Moshe Weinberg, a beautiful story, one of the most beautiful stories I think I ever heard from Moshe Weinberg. I'd actually put it at the top of the top 10 of Moshe Weinberg's stories. He says that he had a Yid who was a Talmud of the Izbish's son, Rav Yaakov. What's the sefer he has? Rav Yaakov sefer. He was the Izbish's son.
Yeah, Ishmitz.
He has a sefer on Beis Yaakov, I think it's called Beis Yaakov. Beautiful sefer. And then I haven't learned it that much. I've learned more of Sodok and Rav Lebelega, the Talmidim, or the Izbish's, or the Izbish's sefer. But the Beis Yaakov is also a beautiful sefer. And this chassid was a Talmud of the Beis Yaakov, and he used to go to his shir every night. It was kavias, and it was like a really late night shir, and every night all the Talmidim would come and be waiting for the Rebbe to come in, and the same Seder every time they learn, he'd come in with a chain, he'd pick up the sefer, kiss the sefer, open it up and start the learning, and at the end of the learning, and it was a Kovod shir, he'd close the sefer and give it a kiss, every single night, kavias. Now this Yid went through after that, not so long after the Beis Yaakov passed away, and then the world changed. Rav Sodek was alive before the war, and unfortunately, as he got older, he went through the Shoah, and he came out of the Shoah, and he was a broken person. But he said one thing, he testified. He said, one thing I remember from the Beis Yaakov, the one thing. He said, I don't remember the shirim. They were Gavaldik shirim, the best shirim ever, but I don't remember any of the Torah. He said, the only thing I remember is the kiss he gave before the shir and the kiss after the shir on the sefer. And that's what our door, when we're pressured so much, and unfortunately we're going to forget our learning from the lachats the phone creates, and the pressures of the Yetzer Hara draining us a cop, the voices within and never out, and the war going on around us. We can start to forget our learning a little bit. But what Hashem says, be very careful of those people, because they have Torah within them. And remember, it said the Torah will return to everyone, ultimately. So we have to machabed the Torah within all these people. And be very careful with what's bevaridin, Rebbe Yehuda. What's the translate that?
Of the veins.
Of the veins, like Rebbe Yehuda. And be very careful, the children of Amaretz, supposed Amaretz, people that don't seem to learn anything. You see in Eretz as well. It comes out from Pashto families. A taxi driver can come out with a son who's going to be a Gadol Ador. Or like think of Vadi Yosef, his father owned like a fruit shop or something, vegetable store. And from Yossi's vegetable store, whatever it was, the name of the store, Vadia's fruit store came out of Vadi Yosef, whatever the name was, the store. But the point is that come out that I don't know if his father's Amaretz, but the point is from the Amaretz, Amaratzim, whatever that means, is going to come out b'nei Torah. Ki eilu hashlosh bechinas haim kulam remozim is alas and nefesh v'seich v'torah v'zichron. See, we're getting to this concept of zichron. There's forgetting Torah, and then there's remembering Torah. And these 3 are all hinted of an elevation. Now the veins one I don't get so much. We'll have to see underneath. There's probably an explanation.
Slaughtering an animal that you need to be able to cut drain the animal,
drain the blood
from its blood. So, the difference between an animal and that of a chicken. But Rebbe Yehuda says that it's you actually need to cut through the veins instead of just cutting through
the shechita behemoth, proper shechita.
The trachea and the esophagus. That you only do for a regular animal, but for the bird, you only have to cut through just one of them, either the trachea or the esophagus. But Rebbe Yehuda says, hey, go through the veins also. That's important, and it turns out that he's agreed with.
So the point is to drain out all the blood completely.
Drain out all the blood, yeah.
Because we don't eat the stupidest libel ever that we eat children's blood. It just shows you the lies that have been about Am Yisrael. So we don't eat blood. And this has to be reminded that we are not cruel people. Anyone who calls us cruel is a liar. And we're Rachmanim, we're merciful, we're kind, we're Bashanim, we're people who have Boshas Ponim, we're holy people, so don't lie about us in the news and everywhere else. And then the other one is to remember that Amaretz is going to come out Torah. So these are all connected, these are hinted in the elevation of the soul and the intellect of the Torah of Zichron. And Zichron, this Rosh Chodesh is also, we say the Lashon of Zichron, Zochrein L'Tova. Zochrein L'Bracha, Zochrein L'Chaim Tovim. This is the whole thing of Rosh Chodesh is a connection, especially Rosh Chodesh Nissan, is connected to the Yom HaZichron of Rosh Hashanah of the year from Master Bereshis. It's right now we're in the days of Master Bereshis according to the Shita for Rebbe Yeshua. I think Rebbe Yeshua Paskins that these are the 5 days, 6 days from Chafei Adar leading up to Rosh Chodesh Nissan and 6 days of Master Bereshis. So we're in a state right now where we're going through the new Brias Olam in the Bechina of Maisa according to Rebbe Yeshua. So Rosh Chodesh Nissan is when it manifests, and when Rosh Chodesh has a koyach of Zichron. And if the Zichron is this alas nefesh, this elevation of the soul. It's a very elevated reality, and the Torah and the Zichron go together, and these 3 warnings are to mechazik the Indian of Zichron, of remembering. So why does he forget his Torah? So one of it's the aspect of death and foolishness because of forgetfulness. When a person's onus, Rahmana Patra, Hashem's mochu him. Why? Hashem forgives him because Rahmana, Hashem is merciful, and he's Patra, he patters him. Yeah, he exempts him. Vazira Rebbe Yehuda lekabda. So Rebbe Yehuda reminds us to honor them. And through honoring a person, you're sort of restoring him. So not only does the Torah restore us, but our way we honor another person that restores a person. Yeah, it's one of the hardest things. I'll be personal. I don't care. Yeah, I was a Maggid Shir. I taught Shir in lots of shivas. And I was a Rebbe. I wasn't like a big Gemara Rebbe. I did have a Shir a few times in Gemara, but I wasn't like a big macher. But I was giving Shirim, and it was a panasa was a job, but I also loved doing it. And throughout all the years, I've always had this was teach. And you come to. So you get a bit older, and you hope that it will be mamshich. So Baruch Hashem, we have technology, so we can record, and you do a little bit of podcast here and there. But the nekuda of sitting with a chevra and having a shir, like a proper class of Talmidim, is I haven't had that for I go to Bnei Akiva, but it's a different bechina, because Bnei Akiva, then when we talk about intimacy, it's a different bechina. It's not like I have to be come very much down to where these guys are to get them to listen to the nekudas, but to give a proper shir and to be able to just sit and learn, it's there's no bigger Kovod like to sit with Yidden and learn Torah together and to go on a journey on the neshama. And it can be a bit a painful moment when you don't have that opportunity as much anymore. For a lot of the reasons to do with Panasa and the yeshivas can afford, and all the yeshivas I worked at pretty much don't exist anymore because of Nisyonis with Panasa and the drug issues, and part of me thinks maybe the yeshivas weren't the shlichim long term. They're going to come along other yeshivas like for Fisher and other places that will fill a new generation of people. But however, whatever the Hashgacha Pratis is, but when someone gives you cover and gives you an opportunity, like Shlomo phones me up and messages me and said, "Look, Eli, I need to fill me in for a minute," it does give me a little bit of restoration, because it makes me feel like, I do have a bit of something to say, and I have learned something, and there is something to say, and people do care about it for 5 minutes. Yeah, so it gives a person a bit of chizuk. It's gala nefesh hainu zichron Torah, and then it reveals the soul, and that is zichron Torah, and this is remembering the Torah. Because the root of Torah, it's not about your Kovod. It really is the Kovod of Hashem Yisbarach. And we have a chelik of Hashem within us. So forget about ourselves. We have to be Torah Lishma. It's for the sake of the Torah that we've had inside us. One of the biggest pushes in Daf Yomi right now, if you look at the Dafim and about Mashiach and all this stuff, one of the pressures you feel from the Dafim, not only the urgency to want to bring Mashiach, but also that need to, when you learn Torah, to be able to teach it. It shouldn't just stay by you. If you have the schus to sit by this Gilad guy, go say over some of the stuff he teaches you to your family, to your friends. Give it over somewhere, because each person is going to give you something, and it's your obligation to say it and to share that light. And it's very fulfilling when it's not, and it's not because of you. It's because of the Kovod Hashem Yisbarach, because the Torah is the Kovod Hashem. And to my honor, I created it. So we remember them for a blessing, just like we remember the Chachomim for a blessing. Chazal, when we say Chazal, we're remembering the Chachomim for a blessing. It's all Indian of Zichron. Ein Kovod el Torah. And we sing this on Simcha.
So when you go ahead and you honor someone who's a Zakein, that Kovod brings in the Torah, which is a bechina of memory. And the and then the soul.
So that's someone there's a lot of
it's neged all the hardships that he had that made him forget it.
Oh, and that awakens his soul. Instead of putting him some old age home and forgetting about the dude.
Right.
Yeah, Moshe of the Tikkunim. You go there. You know what Victor Miller, you know what he used to do? He used to go to the old age home. And you know what he'd do? He'd find the old Tamcha. I heard a whole shir once. He gave him this Zahira, this warning. Victor Miller, he was one of the big Rabbanim. I went to his Levaya. I was by his Levaya in the 90s, maybe 2000. And it was by the Mir. Started off by the Mir. I was mamish there. And Victor Miller said, the Indian of being honoring, going to an old age home, he said, you find these old Yidden sitting there, learn with them, and they come alive. They're like half alive before you come. They're just about, you look at them, you think they're on their way out. You open up a sefer with these old guys, and they come alive.
Even a young guy who's far and away, and all of a sudden you get.
I believe we're all going. Whenever the Torah is talking about any of the we're all going through it now. There's a certain equal reality. We're all being tested by the Yetzirah, by internet, by pressure on us, the war, the corona. It's like a global, universal experience for all of humanity, and even more so for Am Yisrael, because we have a big responsibility to sort it out. So we're all being tested, and that's why there's a certain equalizer. This nonsense looking for communism, that's garbage. That's all the wrong form of equality. What equalizes humanity is that we have a neshama, and that we're all being tested to be either choose the soul or choose the not. And that bechira, that all of the humanity is going through on a daily level, to choose good, choose godliness or not. And zichron, having the right memory, reminds you what the right choice is.
I had last night, Rav Simcha Achbaum came and gave a shir to Yehuda's house.
Nice.
And he brought the Ramban from Parshas Bo. And it speaks about Emuna. Why is Yitzias Mitzrayim mentioned in so many mitzvahs?
This is Ramban, Rebbe Nachman. Yeah, it's beautiful there.
So I remember, I said, when I would learn sometimes with in a kollel or liquid guy, they would say, the famous Ramban. Yeah. Actually, when I first started to get into Breslov, he would quote this.
Yeah, it's a big one.
The Ramban speaks of Hashgacha Prati.
Yeah.
This concept.
Also davening with kol as well.
The famous Ramban.
Kol Emuna, with voice.
Davening
as well.
It's in there. Well, he says that's actually, so for the first time, I said to him, I've been with the Shiva guys, they would say the famous Ramban, Parshas Bo. Sure. This was it. So that immediately gave me chiyas.
That Ramban, there's a hemshech from it into the Shlah HaKodesh. Shlah HaKodesh brings it and then explains it so beautifully. And every Shabbos, every Kiddush, when I say Kiddush, I have in mind this Ramban going through to the Shlah into my Kiddush every single week.
Because the purpose is for you to be able to praise Hashem.
Zeichel Mitzrayim,
using the words
to clear zechiras that I become mishtatev in my separations, and this is my opportunity. Remember, we had that beautiful shir from Shlomo about we're sitting in front of our family or standing, if depending on what your minhag is. You're about to make kiddush, and you're in this opportunity. Remember, you said a beautiful thing about looking into your kos and and all the beautiful kavanas you have. This is the moment now to share this light with your whole family. The rest of the week you don't really get those, but even Shabbos, the rest of Shabbos, maybe there's a few moments of learning, a few moments of Shabbos, but that is like a important moment where we're crowning Hashem as He took us out of all our Meitzarim, of all our difficulties in the week, and the whole Bria is for us, and we're partners with Him in this, and standing for our whole family and declaring it so clearly, and it's alayayin, it's something that sameachs us and makes us happy, and like it's a beautiful moment that we have to like every week. And when you have the Ramban and the Shlah, you have these big Rishonim in you, and they the Yahrzeit of them the same day, I think. So these two big Rishonim, and they're poor. It's during Chodesh Nissan. I think it's the 9th of Nissan. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that came up actually.
Nissan,
some people say the Ramban's buried in Hebron.
So I think it's Nissan. But anyway, the point is, you have this day of just G-dly of Emuna. The whole Chodesh Nissan is a big aura of Emuna.
It's Rosh Chodesh each day.
Yeah,
each day has the ability.
Seder night is when we really clarify that whole Zeicher Siyas B'Srayim. It becomes clear to us.
One of the Rav said that it's Rav Goldhirsch was there saying this, but you probably heard it. That each day represents a month.
Yeah. So the Tzaddikim are able to have ruach HaKodesh, what would happen the whole year.
Yeah.
So the Ohev Yisrael ended up on he didn't say anything about that the 5th day, which was when he passed away that year. The Ohev Yisrael, he passed away on Chodesh Av, Menachem Av, the Ohev Yisrael. But the point is, yes, Tzaddikim every day, and there's a special tefillah after the Korban Nasi, and it's all to do with these. He had a beautiful Torah before. In the previous Sif, he starts talking about this blooming and the flowers and the coming to life of everything. And there's a certain feeling of like Chodesh Nissan. There's a certain energy and avir of Eretz Yisrael, like everything's coming back to life. I mean, it's beautiful. It was Minashama, I was learning it last. I can believe it. Rebbe Nachman was like bringing it out. This awakening in the land. There's remembrance in the land. There's also a level of zichron in the land, and it has all this logic. Nasan Niru Ba'aretz. The whole just bringing out Hazameh Hagia Koa Torah Nishma Baratzenu. You hear the voice in the land. There's a tremendous awakening right now, and we can get distracted by the missiles, or we can tune into the Avos Hashem that's coming down, and Chesed Hashem. There's a tremendous Chesed Hashem, and we have to bring it out, and Hashem will protect us. Should be Zoche Bez Hashem. It's a beautiful Shabbos, Parshas Likutei, Shabbos Chazak, finishing Sefer Geula, finishing the Sefer Shmos. Big deal. Should have beautiful Shabbos and a good Chodesh as well.